Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Season 9, Episode 5, overall 445 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, or their selection of all-electric vehicles or Cadillac products as well. You can also call the dealership at 519-824-0210 and tell them Chris Palme sent you. And you can email the dealership at info@barrycullen.com. Barry Cullen Chevrolet has been family-run and operated here in the city of Guelph since 1969. And yours truly, CDP, has been a customer of Barry Cullen Chevrolet here since 2000. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show is on radio station WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, the home of Southern Talk and Sports, weeknights from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. I hope everyone is doing well on this Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024. We're having Indian summer here in Southern Ontario. The temperatures have been in the high 70s, early 80s, but the cooler weather in the fall is coming here on Thursday as well. I'm excited about my guest tonight. I'm going to bring her on just a moment. This is her first time. Her name is Steff K. She is a nurse, a mom, a wife. She's served others as Army veterans. I'm going to ask her about that. And she's also now a stand-up comedian, and she is a native of Pittsburgh, PA. So I've got to definitely ask her if she's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan as well, being from Pittsburgh, which is a great city. And I'm excited to have on Steff K. We're going to bring her on and talk about her transition into being a stand-up comedian for the past 2.5 years. Good evening. How are you, Steff?
I'm very good. How are you?
I am doing well on this rather warm Tuesday, October 22nd here.
Yeah, it's warm down here. It was like 85 degrees, I think.
Yes, I like summer, but I also like my fall and winter and spring weather. So I'm ready for the fall weather right now.
Me too.
So how are things up in your neck of the woods, up in what, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I'm out in actually eastern PA, Lehigh Valley, Bethlehem, Allentown. Like you said, I was born in Pittsburgh, outside of Pittsburgh. So yes, I am a big Steelers fan. And
now you're in Eagles territory.
I am, and it's funny because there's a lot of Eagles fans that hate Steelers. And I crack up because I'm like, we're in the same state. So if we're playing each other, I'll root for the Steelers, but my second or third team is the Eagles. So I don't have that problem, distancing myself from my emotions. So
what do you love the most about the state of Pennsylvania? I've been there many times, and I really love it. And I also like there's no sales tax on clothing in Pennsylvania.
No, that's awesome. I like, and I don't want to jinx it, but I'm going to say it anyway because I like it. I like the fact that our weather is pretty stable, and like I said, I don't want to jinx it because as soon as I say something catastrophic is going to happen. But in all my time in PA and Jersey, the weather's been pretty good. We've had a couple close calls with hurricanes, but so far nothing too terrible. So I stick by that.
Absolutely. And I'd rather put up with cold and snow than have hurricanes and earthquakes. And those people in Florida, I feel so sorry for because their lives have been ruined, their homes have been destroyed. And I guess a lot of insurance companies are pulling out of Florida right now, too.
Is it Florida or like the North Carolina, Tennessee? Because I think Tennessee and North Carolina were hit
Pretty bad, too.
horribly. They were hit worse than Florida, I think.
Okay,
But
I guess they just didn't get as much news coverage as Florida did.
and it's a shame because there's still people that in North Carolina, Tennessee, a month after. I'm sorry, I'm a big. I've been going down the rabbit hole on TikTok with the Hurricane Helene thing, and there, so many people have their lives. Their houses were literally carried away in rivers. There's people that live on the mountains that don't have, power still, when it's been over a month. So, like I said, I went down a rabbit hole on TikTok with Helene. And so, yeah, Florida was horrible. But, I feel like North Carolina and Tennessee were hit so much worse. But that's not funny. So, but, it's pretty bad.
And that's why I've had musicians on my show, and I always find there's a similarity between musicians and comedians that it's like a therapy for them to escape. And I just wanted to ask you, what was behind your reason for going into stand-up comedian, being a nurse for 21 plus years?
Well, so far, I don't think I use it for. I don't think I use it for therapy. Um, if you ask my sister and my husband, I probably need therapy, but I've never, I've never had therapy. But well, when I met my husband almost 9 years ago, probably a year into our relationship, he was always telling me, that I was one of the funniest people that he's ever talked to. I just made him laugh all the time. So I wrote, here and there. I'd write, I had no idea what I was doing. I'd write a thought I had in my head about a joke. And it didn't go any further than that. And then 2020, 21, New Year's Day, we were talking about New Year's resolutions. And he said, what's your resolution going to be this year? And I said, I don't know, maybe I'll try, an open mic or two. I'll just try an open mic. And that led me to researching open mics. And then I found out through my research that they had comedy classes. So, and they said if you take a 6-week comedy class, it would get you ready for like a 5-minute open mic. Like, it would have you ready for a 5-minute set for an open mic. So I said, that sounds smart. So I took and it was actually 2020. So COVID, like, right. Was it COVID? Yeah, I took it. No, 2022. So we were still in the whole COVID thing. So I took a class in person at Helium Comedy Club down in Philly, 6 weeks. And at the end of the 6 weeks, I had my 5-minute set, and I never stopped. Some people took the class for other reasons, public speaking, they just wanted to become more comfortable in front of people. But I took it, and I never stopped.
Steph, for those people that are watching this live stream right now or on audio or even on WQEE 99.1 FM, those people that are interested in going into the comedy industry, what advice would you give to them?
Okay. I think one of the main things I've learned in all my 2.5 years of comedy, which is nothing. I'm still I might be 52, but in the comedy world, I'm still a baby because, it's been 2.5 years. But I've gotten on I got my first paid show 6 months in. And since then, the majority of the shows I do get paid. I think the reason that happened is because I don't stay within my 20-mile, 30-mile radius of where I live. When I do open mics, I go to Jersey. I'll go down towards Philly. I've applied to comedy festivals that have gotten in. I did a comedy festival out in California last summer. It's all about networking, making contacts, being reliable, responsible. You show up, you're prepared. Don't do a paid show using notes. So I think two things I would say is go outside your comfort zones. If you're a white comedian, don't just stick to all white rooms. Go outside your boundaries. Go to a more urban room. See if your joke works there. Don't do a paid show and bring notes up on stage. That's not a sign of a professional comedian. Rehearse, practice, and don't expect to be a headliner within 3-4 years.
And be diverse as well. Had to ask you this as well. Have you been to Canada yet? And when you've done your stand-up comedian shows, obviously on the East Coast, West Coast, are there differences between the East Coast humor from the audience from the West Coast audiences?
Well, I gotta say, when I was in California, I was there for a week. I did some open mics. I only did 2 shows for the festival. So I can't say that I really know the West Coast audience because I did it at 2 shows and that was it. So I can't really speak to West Coast. I can't really speak to the comparison. I heard, just from other comedians I've met out there that, they're a little more woke, as far as senses of humor. But I can't speak to that like through experience because I did 2 shows and they were not heavily attended. So I think that's the answer for that question.
What have been some of your most memorable performances so far, and some of your favorite clubs you've performed at?
I had a couple really good shows in New York City. At one of the comedy clubs in New York City, Broadway Comedy Club. I had two or three really, really good shows there. It's just, you click with the audience right away. I had a really good set. It wasn't at a comedy club. It was down at just a venue and down outside Philly, probably 3 weeks ago. Fantastic. And I think it's all about, getting the audience to like you right off the bat, which is, one of the main, the something that you need to happen like right away.
Do you like to open a show or do you like to be in the middle? And how long does it take normally for you to engage a crowd's audience mood?
Well, at this point, it doesn't really matter where I am in the show. I have like intro jokes based upon like where I am in the show, how long in the show I'm doing, if I'm the only woman on a show. So I can where I am doesn't really matter. I'm getting to the point I do have about 15-20 minutes solid. So featuring, that's the middle. Featuring is I'm pretty much there. I don't mind going first. What was the other part of that question?
Do you have any, do you also, how long it takes you to engage a crowd's audience? And also, do you have any rituals or superstitions before you go on live?
Oh, no. Cause, but I try to get a laugh in the first 15-20 seconds. So, because once I feel like I have a laugh, and I think you'll probably, if you've interviewed other comedians, they'll probably say the same thing. Once you get a laugh, then you can kind of relax, and because then they usually have them if you get a good laugh in the first 15, 20 seconds. I have no rituals. I usually rehearse on the way there. I rehearse the morning of. I rehearse. I'm doing 2 shows the end of this week. Tomorrow my day at work's kind of light, so I plan on rehearsing at home to my dogs. My dogs, they're in the room with me. So I try to do a lot of my rehearsing prior to, a lot of comedians, they're like, they're in their zone, they're writing. I just did a show like a week and a half ago, and the comedians that I was with were sitting down at the table, writing down notes, and I'm like, what? And I don't do that. I walk around and stuff like that. And they all had their own various, reasons for sitting and writing. And so I don't really have any, I try to get it all done before I get there, like my car ride there, because there's rarely a time I do a comedy show that's within 15, 20 minutes of my house. So I have a ride, usually to practice and stuff like that.
Do you see any comedians in your career so far where they've gone on stage and they've ended up getting stage fright?
Ooh, no. They may have forgotten a line or two, but I can't, I think that's probably one of my fears, is that I'm going to get on stage and just completely forget what I was going to say. But knock on wood. Stop. I was just kidding. Sorry.
I love dogs. What's your dog's names and what breed?
All right. I have a Rottweiler and a pit bull.
Awesome.
And I shouldn't have knocked. Hey, come here.
That's okay.
Sit down.
I love dogs, and
Sit down.
I do volunteer work at a local humane society here. So yeah.
Hey.
Dogs are like kids.
They're so annoying.
That's okay. That's okay.
Here,
I love dogs. Yeah, let's see them. I'm a big dog fan and cat fan too.
Can you see them?
Yeah, I can see them. Yep.
All right, sit down, dogs. You're fine.
They're probably spoiled rotten too.
All right. I should have knocked on wood, but I did.
That's okay. That's okay. Dogs are welcome on my show anytime. So,
all right, go lay down.
Hey, to get back to comedy, you told us about your interest in comedy, but did you have some influences and mentors when you first started out doing stand-up?
Oh, I do, and actually, one of them, she's a Canadian.
Oh, that's amazing!
Her name is Belinda Clear. She's from Nova Scotia.
Okay, that's the eastern part of Canada, which I've never been to yet.
Yeah, she's probably one of the most influential comedians I've met, so far in my career.
And you've always liked comedy, have you been into Saturday Night Live, and do you have some favorite male and female comedians out there?
Yeah, Saturday Night Live, I haven't really watched too much lately. I grew up watching it. Male comedians, I love Bill Burr. Joe Coy is amazing. Dave Chappelle's awesome. Female comedians, I like some more. I saw Nikki Glazer's latest special. It was really, really good. Nikki Glazer was really funny. Oh, Belinda Clear, she's amazing. She just headlined my show back in September. So there's a lot of good comedians out there nowadays.
For my
big underground, there's a big underground. My husband compares the comedy world to like the underground, like rap. He's like, there's just so many, there's just so many out there, and there's a lot of them that aren't famous yet. So.
And having other comedians on from Canada and the States, there seems to be even more female comedians now than ever before, because there was a stereotype years ago that women couldn't be funny. But as far as I'm concerned, some of the better comedians out there are females as well.
Well, if you ever go to comments under female comedians like clips on, Facebook or there's still I think there's still a good majority of men out there that don't think women are funny.
For those people that are watching our show tonight, Steff, how would you describe your comedy style? And can you tell us about some other comedy styles as well? And just quick thoughts on slapstick comedy too, which I grew up with in the 70s and 80s.
Hmm. My style, I think it's been called I can be cleanish but edgy. I've heard edgy a lot. I talk about, but in my stuff is all it's all autobiographical so far. I don't do really observational yet. So mine's mainly about being a nurse, being a mom. I do have some veteran jokes, being, a wife, relationship stuff. Very, I'm not animate. I'm not deadpan, but I'm not very animated. I'm kind of in the middle as where that goes. But I'm getting better. I watch videos from me when I started, over a year, year and a half ago, and I compared them to now, and it's crazy the difference that I see. Slapstick comedy. You were talking like
Just physical, more like a physical comedy without saying much.
yeah. I don't think I watched a whole lot of that growing up. So I can't say I have much of an opinion on it. What did you said you liked it? Is that what you watched a lot growing up?
Yeah, I grew up with the Three Stooges, Laurel and Hardy, Abbott and Costello, those types.
Yeah, no, I watched Larry Moe, Larry Curly, and yeah, they were funny. Yeah, I guess that's true. I forgot about them. Yeah, they were a little crazy, outrageous. But yeah, yeah, that's true. I think I did. I watched them a lot growing up.
Steff, when you do your on stage live performances, on average, how long is one of your performances?
Well, depending upon the show, I don't really do I try not to do 5 minutes anymore because I progressed further than like a 5 minute set. So probably 10 to 15 minutes at this point.
And how important is ab-libbing? Do you occasionally do ab-libbing just based on the mood of the audience too?
Oh,
Sometimes?
definitely. And I think, I've been told that I'm pretty good with off the cuff remarks. And I've hosted some shows, and I think being a host, you have to be pretty good at, just engaging with the audience and just being prepared with whatever crazy things they say. So yeah, I think it's more important to have good material. And if you have, I think for headliners, they can come out and do 45 minutes and, come out with 30 minutes prepared and, give themselves 15 minutes to, play around with the audience.
What's the biggest crowd you've performed in so far, and perhaps maybe your toughest crowd so far?
The largest crowd so far was down in Virginia, and that was about 300 people. My toughest crowd was, I did a show back in March, and I would say that was probably my first bomb that I did. I only did a 5 minute set, but it was not a good 5 minute set. So, but I learned, moved on, didn't stop me from getting back on stage, a day or two later. So
Are any of your shows ever live streamed? And I know during the pandemic, I watched a few shows from Flappers live stream because of the
Mm.
pandemic. But a lot of the comedians I talked to said, as much as they liked it, it's not the same as performing in front of a live audience.
No, no. And I know I've been asked a few times to do like some Zoom shows, and I just don't know. I've never accepted the invite to do a Zoom show because I just don't know how I would be without like a live audience in front of me. I guess you have to imagine it, but I was
Go ahead.
so yeah. So no, I've never done a Zoom show. So, and I don't really want to.
As much as I love doing my show virtually, and I think it's great, when I do my live interviews with professional athletes, coaches, or people from the food bank and stuff like that, there's nothing better because when you're talking to people in front of people, you have to think on your feet, you have to listen, and it's just a different vibe than doing it virtually.
Oh, for sure. 100%. I mean, like I said, I've never done it, so I can't compare, but I if I don't have to, I don't want to. So,
Do you remember the first time you performed in front of an audience?
yeah, I did my class graduation at Helium. Um, after my 6-week class, we had a show at the end of that 6 weeks where we all invited our families and friends, and so that was at Helium down in Philly. So that was April 6th, 2022.
Congratulations. And how important is it to have a strong support system with family and friends and stuff like that? And do you get some feedback from your family and friends as well?
Oh, definitely. My husband's very good. A lot of people think that because he's your husband, that he's a little biased, and he won't give me the whole truth. Now, if I do great, he'll tell me I do great. If I didn't do great, he'll tell me. So it's very important. A lot of people said it's hard on a relationship, especially a woman in comedy, because it's very male dominated. Um, but he's been very supportive. My sister's been very supportive. I have a couple of really good friends that are supportive and come to shows when they can. But honestly, a lot of that motivation has to come from yourself. Because I remember I would be driving an hour and a half to do a show or an hour and a half to do an open mic, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this. But it's just like anything else. It's I'm the product, so it's my business. So if I want any success in doing it, then I got to put the work in.
The word I'm looking at is passionate, and I can tell talking to you, Steff, how passionate you are. And also, this goes for radio media too. It's not just passion; is you never want to get complacent. I always tell people if you start getting complacent in whatever you're doing, it's probably time to move on to something else.
True, that is true. But you know what? The thing is, your best set that you can have. I can have my best set tomorrow night, and then the night after bomb. So like you can't I don't think you can get complacent in comedy because you're only as good as the set that you do tonight. You have to you could so you can and you can always get better. You could do the same set in a different, the same exact set in two different venues back to back, and it's completely different experiences.
Every
You could come up with a new line, a new tagline one night and use it the next. So like, it's ever changing. It's ever changing.
every audience is different, and going to ask you this: how competitive is the comedy industry? And did you ever get yourself a manager or an agent or somebody to help you out with your gigs?
Um, I don't have a manager or an agent. I think it's I haven't had to really, because a lot of the shows I get are word of mouth. So maybe I could have more. I don't know, but I don't know if I'm not. I don't think I'm at the point. I'm not a headliner yet. So that's a question that I don't know the answer to. I probably could have an agent, but at this point, I just don't have one yet. Competitive, very competitive, very competitive. I would even say cutthroat, honestly, in this because I mean, apparently there's so many comedians nowadays. Well, people that call themselves comedians, and that are competing for the same spots as actual, people that try hard and put their best. But, it's kind of like people have shows and they'll want to put all their friends on their show, regardless if they're funny or not. So it's kind of like a
favoritism, I guess.
Yeah, not nepotism because it's not really family. But you get past that though. So, and if the right people see you, it doesn't really matter. So,
and I think that can apply to like what I'm doing in media and radio too, and
other I think the entertainment business in itself, regardless of what arm of it you're on, I think everything's very competitive.
Yeah. Hey, Steff, if you're still good for time, I'd like to play one of your performances from your YouTube channel. And Steff, can you tell my audience how they can subscribe to your YouTube channel? And I already have so far.
I know. Thank you. My YouTube channel is Steff K Comedy. It's got my one of my earliest shows at a comedy club in New York City. So it kind of it's a progression of my comedy from start to where I am today. So there's some good ones. There's not some. I mean, they're all pretty funny, but in my opinion. But I'm Steff 2 STEFF Steff with 2 F's K Comedy on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I have my comedy page on Facebook. Come on.
That's okay. They want to be the stars of the show.
I know. Well, they're barking at the family members like it doesn't make any sense.
You're going to have to include them in your comedy show, your dogs.
So yeah. So on all social medias, I'm Steff K Comedy. Steff with 2 F's on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and then Steff with 1 F on Instagram.
Any plans for a website in the future?
I definitely want one. I'm not very technologically savvy. People have told me numerous places to go that it can be done for free, but I haven't done them yet. Yeah, I know I need one. Everyone says you need a website, so that's there. That's on my agenda. It's on my.
I have a small website too on beacons.ai/Christy Palme, but I had somebody help put it together for me as well. Even though I've learned a lot in the last 5 years, there's certain things like graphics and websites I let people who are good at do them for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, well, we're going to play your clip. I guess this was from a couple years ago from your YouTube channel. And please let me know, Steff, if you can hear the audio okay.
Okay.
Give me 1 second and we'll get this played right now.
I'm excited to be here. I can't tell you, stand-up is so much more fun than my day job. Because I've been a nurse for 20 long years. Wow. I know. No, it's okay. Look, I'm a bad nurse. I called out of work to be here tonight. Yeah, but then I felt bad. So then I went in and then I snuck back out. They just think I'm on a really long smoke break. I don't even smoke. I I just carry around a handy pack of cigarettes just in case they ask me to do some like nasty nurse stuff. I'm like, no, I gotta go smoke. I gotta go. And I know what you guys are thinking. She's a very caring nurse. Where was she when I was in the hospital? I was probably on a smoke break. Yeah. But I hear this a lot. They're like, Steff, you're a nurse. Why stand up? And the answer is, man, I was tired. You know, I was tired of killing my patients and getting away with it. 20 years, man, that's a long time, you know? And I said, I need to kill people with laughter and not incompetence. You know? Plus, my husband has told me for a long time I was funny and I should try stand-up, you know? But if I can be honest, like, this is a man that I sleep with on a regular basis. So I think he's a little bit biased towards his opinion of my comedic talent. So I'm like, I don't trust that. So I went to my patients. Now, what's one lady, can't mention any names, you know, HIPAA. I like to call her DOB. Not date of birth, dumb old bitch. Man, she was a mean old lady. You know what she said to me? I said, how would I be as a comedian? She said, you know what? You cannot possibly be any worse a comedian than you are a nurse. So I say, go for it. And I was shocked. I thought I was a good nurse. She's like, no, you're not. In fact, I've never said this to anybody, but please quit your day job before you kill somebody. And I was like, ooh, a little late. You know? But then she died. Yeah, you're sick for laughing at that. But she was right, because I was her nurse, and I didn't even know that she was sick. 20 years I was a nurse. She's the one that made me realize how important insulin is to the diabetics. I was like, woo! Speaking of my type 2s, where's my 50 and over crowd? Make some noise. Woo! Thank God they made the show so early tonight. Now we can go home and go to bed when we get home, right? So I gotta tell you, I too turned 50 recently. And I was excited. For no reason, but I was excited. I was like, man, I'm gonna go from being your average, ordinary 49-year-old woman, you know, pumpkin spice loving, Ugg boot wearing, you know, your basic white chick, and wake up the next day, boom, 50, cougar. Keep on laughing, it's you know, not happening. You know, I was gonna wake up, 25-year-old man boys fall from the sky. It's Raining Men plays everywhere I go. And I gotta tell you, a little bit into my 50s, none of that has happened. I mean, It's Raining Men does play, because I have it on repeat on my Pandora, you know? And there's no 25-year-old clouds in the sky, and I keep looking. I keep looking so much, I like to consider myself the newest member of the Weather Channel, you know? But like them, I also don't know crap about the weather, you know? Now my kids are horrified. They're like, Mom, how could you be excited? Because basically all that means is like that you're old now. And I'm like, kids, stupid kids. I don't look at it as getting old. I look at it as finally being able to have sex with your father and not get pregnant anymore. I know, and that's mean. But what's even meaner, my husband isn't their father anyway. It's crazy too. 3 white kids, my husband's black, and they can't make the connection. I'm like, yo, if they ain't asking, I ain't telling you. All right, I'm Steff K. You guys are
Steff K.
Thoughts on your performance there at the comedy cabaret, and you were finished in second place?
Yeah, there was a contest down at the Comedy Cabaret, and I came in second. No, it was good. I can see the improve. That was from almost a year ago. So, and I could see the improvement since then.
Well, it's like with anything in any career, the more you do something, the more reps,
Hmm.
more you'll get better. And when I first started this stuff, just under 5 years ago, I couldn't get guests on. I wasn't very good, but I had a friend that believed in me and gave me some advice, and I just kept working at it, and started getting guests on. And now, almost 5 years later, I'm going on 450 episodes with over 430 guests.
I know, that's awesome. Congratulations to you too.
Well, thank you so much. And what I love about this show, I think we mentioned this before, is the storytelling aspect from my guests and learning something new from every show I do.
Oh, good. Did you learn anything?
Yes, I did.
Okay. What'd you
Uh,
learn? Come on, tell me. You're on the spot now.
Comedy is not as easy as people think that it is.
You know what? It's funny because a friend of mine that's a nurse, we talked about it, once in a while. And she said that until she talked to me about it, she just thought the comedians went on stage and that was all off the cuff. Like everything was just from their brain the whole time on stage. And I was like, oh, no. I said, it's very, if they're good, it's very carefully, crafted. When you see Chris Rock going on, his Netflix special, or, he's done that around the country, until he's, perfected enough for the Netflix special. So, yep, definitely hard work.
But it's something that you really enjoy doing. And like you said, you have to sometimes step out of your comfort zone if you want to succeed in any career.
Oh, for sure. 100%. 100%.
Now, where do you get some of your inspirations for writing your own jokes? And can you tell my audience how important the writing joke or writing comedy aspect of it is as well? It's just probably as important as being on stage.
Yeah. Well, so far in my, since I've been doing comedy, mine is all, like I said, autobiographical. So most of every bit I've had so far has its birth in the truth, has been something that has happened. And being a comedian is not all about, you don't keep it 100% the truth. You want to exaggerate. So a lot of times, it might have started out as the truth, but then it changes and adjusts. The more ridiculous, the funnier it is. So that's where mine comes from. What do I enjoy most about writing my jokes? Is coming up with that really, really ridiculous, like, it's so stupid, but it's most of the stuff that's really, really, really stupid is not really true. It's what's exaggerated, but that makes it so stupid. I'm trying to come up with something that I've said that you didn't see in that clip, that I can tell in a PG format. And not really. But yeah, the stupidest stuff makes the funniest, gets the most laughs. The more ridiculous, the better.
Have you ever had any writer's block where you just tried to write jokes and you just weren't feeling it so far in your career?
No, because I don't really sit. I don't really sit down when I sit down to write, it's because I have a show coming up, and if you write stuff down, it gets in your brain better. I get a lot of my inspiration. Like, I go to the park a lot and walk, and probably about half of my jokes come from walking at the park. And what I do, not is, and everybody does everything, everybody has their own system, but I'll come up with a bit and I roll it around in my head for a little while, and until I think it sounds right. And then I go and sit down and write. So I have a whole book. I have a whole, probably 2 notebooks of joke ideas that I haven't even touched yet. Like I said, most of my jokes come from real life. Something will happen, and I have one of my closing bits that I do was something that happened in real life with one of my kids, and that's how that joke came about. So I can't say I sit down, and write every day, because I might think about jokes in my head every day, but I don't actually sit down and write a joke every day. I might look at jokes I have in progress if I have a thought, but I don't physically sit down and write every day.
On average, how many shows do you do a week? And we do have somebody watching on the comment section. His name is Mike Laba, and I want to say hi, Mike, and thank you so much for watching our show tonight.
Thanks, Mike. Right now, I would probably say like 4 shows a month at this point. So I have a show. I have and it's because I still work full time. So
can you tell us about your full-time job and profession that you've been doing for 21 years?
Yeah, well, I'm a nurse. And as of since 2014, 10 years I've done home care. Home care for patients that are like new out of the hospital and need teaching. Then I do home infusion, which means patients that are on IV, like intravenous medications to manage like a chronic illness. I go, start their IV, administer their medication, check their vital signs, and make sure, everything's stable. So I do that in people's homes and like at an infusion center. And I love it. I love it.
And by the way, I have 3 people in my family that are nurses. My cousin Terry in Michigan, my cousin Janice in London, Ontario is a nurse, and my cousin Tracy in London, Ontario is a nurse. And I have so much respect for nurses. It's not an easy profession nowadays. And do you find there is I know there's a nurse shortage here in Canada. Do you find the nursing industry in the States has kind of shrunk over the decades?
Yeah, I think so, because I think a lot of people there aren't. I think COVID probably lost a lot of some nurses with the whole mandating of the vaccine. I think probably a lot of nurses that were close to retirement probably decided to retire. But then I've also heard that nursing school is very competitive, so it's hard to say. If there's just a ton of nurses or they're just competitive. So I'm not really, I don't really know if there's I don't know if there's a shortage. I'm too busy. I'm too busy. Sorry, I'm out of focus right now. I'm too busy, between working, doing comedy, running my house to pay, and with everything that's going on in the world right now, to know if there's a nursing shortage or not. So,
How hard is it to do a work-life balance with what you're doing right now, being a nurse, a comedian, and a wife and a mom?
Well, luckily, when I started comedy, my youngest kid was 16. And so now my kids are 18, 20, and 26. So I don't have to be, they're independent. My husband's very independent. My household, So, 10 years ago, it will be a totally different story. So I think I started comedy at a really good time because, my kids didn't need me as much as they used to.
How much would you say you've improved as a stand-up comedian in the last 2.5 years? And what do you enjoy the most about doing stand-up comedy?
I think I've improved. Ooh, uh, 50, 100%, I don't know, 75% compared to where I started. But that's just through, keep doing it, hard work, determination. What do I love? I love knowing the fact that the things that I write can get such a huge laugh from complete strangers. Being able to relate, being able to relate to people. Also, I also enjoy the fact that men also seem to like my stuff. It's not just women. I've always wanted to be, I mean, not that always, because I just started comedy 2.5. But when I started, I wanted to have comedy that was relatable to not only women, but men. So I think, there's men out there that would say I was funny.
I was just reading your bio, Steph. It said serving others as an Army veteran. Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Ah, I went in when I was 20 because I was flunking out of college. I wasn't, I was 20. I was just doing nothing. And then I joined the Army. I like to say that my Army days, because I was in from 20 to 24, was kind of like my college days because I just partied. I partied the whole time I was in. I was the kind of person 5 to 7 nights out of the week. If somebody wanted to know where a good place to go, hang out and drink, have a good time, I was the person. I was the person to ask because I knew where all the fun places were every night of the week. So I like to call that my college days because I just partied and had a good time, which is not something that you would want to hear from a veteran. But I was young, and when I got out, I spent my time Fort Carson, Colorado, and then I spent 6 months in Cuba during the in 90, was it 95? There was like the Cuban migrant crisis where there were all these migrants and they were trying to house them and feed them and stuff. So I went down there for 6 months. Um, I have a bit I've not ever really done about my time in Cuba. How I said, nobody considers me a real veteran because I never really did any combat. But I said, you try living on a cruise ship for 6 months, having to walk up and down a plank, drunk every day, and I had to fight off the Cuban migrants for the worm at the bottom of the bottle of tequila. And I had to fight off the iguanas who were blocking my path to get to the beach. So, it was tough duty down there. But I said, I had to come back with a tan. I was in Cuba for God's sake. But, so that was 6 months. And then I got out and I had the Army College Fund. And when I did go to college, I was serious and settled down. So it all worked out.
Absolutely. And when I was younger too, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And if I went back to school now, I would have much better marks because your life experiences
Oh,
change over time. And then I'm sure you can say the same thing too.
oh yeah. Because when I started college, I was 24 and all my professors liked me because I wasn't like just crazy.
I was 22 when I went to college because when I finished high school, I took 3 years off and then figured out what I wanted to do. And then I
Mhm.
went to college a little bit older too.
Yep.
And one thing about education, it's not just in the classroom, but it's a lifelong process. And it's not like if you hit a certain age, that's it. You can learn as long as you want to live.
Oh, 100%.
Hey, before we wrap this up, Steph, can you just tell us about some of your latest shows, your latest upcoming comedy shows?
Yeah, I have two this week. I have one in Elizabeth, New Jersey, at an AMC movie theater. And it's the AMC Gardens. It's Thursday, the 24th, 8 to 10. It's either 8 to 10 or 7 to 9. But the tickets can be bought on, it's called Bumpa, BUMPA 2, the number 2, Bumpa.com. And they're not being sold at the door. But it's really some funny comedians. Professional. I'm probably the one with the least amount of experience on the lineup. But it's going to be funny. And then Friday the 24th is Thursday. Friday the 25th is in Allentown, Pennsylvania. It's called Inkwell. It's 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. I think tickets are $25. Another good lineup. So that's this week. And then I have some more coming up. I think the second and third week in November. Everything can be found, on Instagram. I like to say I'm annoyingly promotional because I promote my shows. But they can be found on any of my social medias, any of my upcoming shows. I'm back in Jersey, November 8th. And then, in Pottstown, November 14th, and then Easton, Pennsylvania, November 15th.
And I was reading up the Friday show as a Halloween comedy special. So you're encouraging the customers and the fans or the audience to come and dress up as well.
Yes, they can dress up if they'd like. Yep.
And what's your favorite thing about Halloween?
Ooh. Michael Myers Halloween movies. I've seen all the movies and all the remakes that have come out in the movie theaters. We've seen. We go as a group and watch them. Horror movies. Horror movies are. I was raised on horror movies. I'm a Gen Xer. You're probably a Gen Xer too. So Michael
I'm,
Myers and Jason Voorhees raised us growing up. So
I'm a big fan of the comedian Mike Myers or Austin Powers, who's from Scarborough, Ontario. I miss him on Saturday Night Live, and I miss him. He's not performing much these days, but he was great.
oh yeah, he was awesome.
Absolutely. And before we wrap this up, I do this with all my guests. What are some fun facts or a fun fact about Steff K that your audience may not know about you?
I got married 2 years ago on December 24th, and we still maintain separate residences until I have my 3 children. Until at least some of them move out, we're not going to live together. And actually, it's working out beautifully. It's I when he suggested it, and I understand. He has his own apartment. It's nice and peaceful. And when we need a little break, he goes home. If I need a break from here, I can go over there. So yeah, a lot of people find that very interesting and unique. Because some people are like, "Oh, you guys just got married," but it's working out for right now. And when I'm more of an empty nester, then I think we'll probably transition to living together. But for right now, it works well.
Congratulations on getting married. And people don't realize that marriage is a lot of work too. It's both sides. It's a lot of work.
Definitely.
And finally, Steph, this hour is flowing by when you're having a great conversation. And I want to say thank you so much, Steph,
No.
for coming on here. Where can my audience follow you on social media?
Okay. Like I said, I'm Steff K Comedy, Steff with 2 F's on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. And for some reason, Instagram thought I was doing some kind of weird stuff back in December. So I lost my Instagram account with 2 F's. So I'm Steff K Comedy with 1 F on Instagram.
And they can follow your YouTube channel at Steff with 2 F's K Comedy as
Yep,
well.
Steff with 2
Everybody,
F's.
and
Yep.
I've subscribed, and hopefully we'll get some more subscribers for you too as well.
Yeah, it's I post, if I have a really good set or something, I usually post my, my better sets, so they can watch it and decide if they want to come see me in person and live.
Hey, Steff, I want to say thank you so much for coming on here. Give me a little bit of time tonight, and I will send you the video, the audio, and some reels and clips if you'd like to post them on your social media pages. And you have an open invite again in the future to come back on my show as well.
I appreciate it, and thanks for having me on your show. It was great and a lot of fun.
And wishing you a happy Halloween, and make sure you spoil those dogs and give them treats for me too.
I will. All right. Thanks, Chris. Have a good night.
You too. Thanks, Steff.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed season 9, episode 5, overall 445 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show with my guest tonight, Steff K, a stand-up comedian and nurse as well. And before we wrap up this show, guys, I want you guys to, and if you're in the Guelph, Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge area, please check out Fluffy Glazed Donuts. Fluffy Glazed Donuts, located at 650 Scottsdale Drive in Guelph, Ontario, or Canada if you're out of province. And you can email them at team at fluffyglaze.com, and their telephone number is 519-821-0056, and their website is fluffyglaze.com. So if you like traditional donuts at a reasonable price and good quality, and they have ones with low sugar, again, check out Fluffy Glazed Donuts at 650 Scottsdale Drive here in Guelph. Email them, team at fluffyglaze.com, telephone number 519-821-0056, or their website is fluffyglaze.com. And Mike is their owner, and please check them out, as they've been in business for about 8 months now, and they really have a good product there. So Fluffy Glazed Donuts. Also, guys, I have a little news today. This is courtesy of UPI, International Press. There was if you're a dog fan, this is a nice story. A canine-loving Canadian broke a Guinness World Record by taking 38 dogs on a single walk for over half a mile. Mitchell Rudy led a pack of 38 leash pooches on a 6-mile walk to break the Guinness World Record for most dogs walked simultaneously by an individual. I hope he had 38 poop bags as well. But hey, I love doing my volunteer work at the Cambridge Humane Society and walking dogs, but I just don't know if I could handle 38 dogs. So the story was again courtesy of UPI, United Press International, and a Canadian broke a Guinness World Record, 38 dogs for over a half a mile. So I'm hoping those dogs, I'm assuming they all got along, but I thought I'd break that story as well, guys. And before we wrap up the show, guys, as always, the next Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by BarryCullen.com and on WQEE 99.1 FM, is on Wednesday, October 23rd, tomorrow night, 5 p.m. with special guest Apple Brown Betty, a stand-up comedian and radio personality, and she is a native of Richmond, Virginia. So we're going to talk to Apple Brown Betty about how she became a stand-up comedian. She was also a TV host, a social media star, and now she's a stand-up comedian. So I'm excited to have Apple Brown Betty on for the first time tomorrow night, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 on the West Coast. Speaking of dogs and pets, if you're looking to adopt, check out the Cambridge and District Humane Society at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, Ontario, 519-623-7722, or visit their website at cambridgehumanesociety.org. All the animals that are up for adoption, their profiles are on cambridgehumanesociety.org. If you're looking to volunteer, you can do it through their website. And they're doing a monthly 50-50 raffle with the winner getting half the money and the Humane Society in Cambridge getting half for their programs as well. They do a great job at the Cambridge District Humane Society, and they are selling 2025 Cambridge Humane Society calendars for $10, which will be coming out in November, which I will be selling as well. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show is hosted by Chris Palme, is on weeknights from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk, the heartbeat of Atlanta. Our radio station's website is wqeefm.radio12345.com, and make sure you click on that website and tune into Live with CDP Sports Talk tonight at 8 o'clock. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show is live streamed on these platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter /X, Twitch, LinkedIn, and now available on Instagram. You can check out my website with all my digital media work, beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show again is sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, their great selection of all-electric vehicles and Cadillac products. And you can call them at 519-824-0210 or email them at info@barrycullen.com. Speaking of Barry Cullen Chevrolet, guys, check out an all-electric Blazer EVLT. You can lease from $283 bi-weekly. That's like $142 at 3.9% for 48 months with $2,750 down payment on an ultra-low kilometer lease. Eligible Costco members can receive $1,200 bonus on select EVs. More details at barrycullen.com. Live with CDP t-shirts are coming soon. They are going to be priced at $20, and I'm going to have sizes medium, large, extra large, double extra large, and a couple of triple extra larges as well. And I should be able to get them in any color that you'd like as well. You can follow this content creator on TikTok at Live with CDP. And thank you to my 2,482 followers. And also, please make sure you hit the subscribe and like notification to my YouTube channel, Chris Palme Live with CDP Talk Show. And I've just hit over 2,000 videos on there. And I want to say thank you to my 468 subscribers and counting as well. And I'm up to 250,000 views. So thank you to everyone for subscribing and watching my YouTube channel, Live with CDP Sports Talk. StreamYard is the official live stream provider of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. If you're into webinars or podcasting, check out StreamYard.com. They have basic free plans, professional paid plans like I have. And if you're a business, they have business plans too. Check StreamYard.com and contact their sales department for business pricing as well. And I've been with StreamYard now for 4 years. That's 4 years right now. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. The audio version is available on these platforms: iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify for podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Pandora, Tuned In, YouTube Music, and Good Pods. So make sure on YouTube Music and Good Pods you hit that subscribe and like notification. You can also email Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show at cpalme19@gmail.com. Any comments, questions, suggestions, feedback would be greatly appreciated as well. Finally, guys, we have the 2024 Major League Baseball World Series starting Friday, October 25th, 8:08 p.m. from Dodger Stadium. Is going to be the American League champion New York Yankees taking on the National League champion Los Angeles Dodgers. This is the 12th time in Major League Baseball history the Yankees and Dodgers have played for the World Championship. And this is the first time since 1981 I was only 9 years old in 1981 when I moved to Guelph when the Dodgers and Yankees played last. So it's been 43 long years since these two great franchises have played. And the Dodgers have home field advantage in this series with 4 out of the 7 games at Dodger Stadium. It's going to be Aaron Judge against Ohtani, the two best players in baseball. And it's going to be a great series. And I think it's going to go 7 games. So the New York Yankees are the most successful team in Major League Baseball. This is their 41st trip to the World Series, and they're looking for their 28th title. The Los Angeles Dodgers, this is their 22nd time. The Brooklyn Dodgers, Los Angeles Dodgers, 22nd time in the World Series, and the Los Angeles Dodgers are looking for their 8th World Series championship of all time, first since 2020. And the Yankees we're looking for their 28th championship. The Yankees haven't won since 2009, so I'm looking forward to that as well. And CFL news, Toronto Argonauts are playing Edmonton Friday, October 25th at 9 o'clock. The Argonauts have clinched second in the East and a home playoff game at BMO Field. So the CFL, it's East semifinal, Saturday, November 2nd at 3 p.m. at BMO Field, Ottawa Red Blacks, Toronto Argonauts. You get your tickets at argonauts.ca/single game tickets. And it was great to see 20,487 fans, the biggest crowd at BMO Field this year for the Argos 38-31 win over Ottawa. And the episode 17 of the Argo Bounce Live audio show with Chris Pame and Nick Small, my co-host. It's going to be this Friday, October 25th, 7 o'clock. So check out Nick and I and our Argo Bounce show, and then you can catch the Argos Elks game that night, Friday night at 9 o'clock as well. Again, guys, I want to say thank you so much to my guest tonight, Steff K, a stand-up comedian and nurse out of Pennsylvania, for coming on here today. And thank you to everyone watching this live streamed and on my audio platforms, and to WQEE 99.1 FM, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership here in Guelph. And again, please check out Fluffy Glazed Donuts, 650 Scottsdale Road in Guelph, Ontario. 519-821-0056, and the website is fluffyglaze.com as well. I hope everybody has a great evening, and we'll see you back here tomorrow night, Wednesday night, 5 o'clock, with my special guest, Apple Brown Betty, a stand-up comedian and a native of Richmond, Virginia. So have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you back here tomorrow night at 5 o'clock for Season 9, Episode 6 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show.